Hey everybody, so I have an NPE case for you today, which is somebody who did not know who their biological father was, and she turned to us for help to identify him. So welcome back to Client Stories with Amy. So she was born in the 1970s in Oklahoma, and she wanted to know who her birth father was. Her mom didn't have much information, and so we didn't have very many clues to go off of except for the DNA, which is most important, right? So when I was looking at her matches, she had great matches. She had really good matches. One of the matches was at over 900 centimorgans, and that's a really, really close match. So I wanted to identify who this young lady was, and I was able to do that pretty quickly, but I wasn't able to find much on her family line in the beginning, and then it took some digging, and we figured it out. So I had asked the client if she had messaged anybody, and she said, yeah, I did message her, and she didn't ever reply back, but I messaged these people down here, a little bit lower centimorgan matches, and we still stay in contact. We're really good friends now. Wasn't much helpful with the ones that she's in contact with. I was really, really curious about that high 900, almost 1,000 centimorgan match, and so I kept digging to figure out who she was. I was able to find her name in an obituary for her brother, but there was not a whole lot of information about what happened. He died really, really young, and so I wanted to know more about him and was unable to figure out what happened to him. He was very young, like I think he was 19 or 20. It was terrible. I felt so bad for the family. And I kept digging, and then I was able to find both of them in an obituary buried deep into newspapers. Like, it was not easy to find it. I actually found it by searching up the middle name of the boy that passed away, and that's how I found it. But it was for their father. He had passed away in 2009. He was also really young. Don't know what happened to him. Very, very young. But it listed him. It listed a whole confusing obituary. It had 3 different moms listed in there. It was actually a dad and a stepmom, and then it had and mothers, and it listed 2 people, one of them with a spouse. So I was like, what is going on here? You can't have 2 moms and then a dad and a stepmom. Like, what is this? And he had 5 sets of grandparents. So what it looks like, is that his dad had a divorce, and stepmom continued to claim this gentleman as her son, even though it was a stepson. So a very well blended family that stayed in touch through the divorce. Like, in her obituary, it claims him as her son in that one too. So just a well blended family. They're very, very close even through the divorce and the drama, which kudos to them, because that doesn't always happen. Like, very close family. Super kudos to them. So we were able to identify the birth father. He was a lawyer, or actually he is a lawyer who's still living, and he's a corporate lawyer. And it was kind of funny because I was able to pull all kinds of information on him, and a whole lot of articles were found by my research assistant. And so we were able to give all of that information to her, and one of those articles had a photo of him, so we were able to give him that. None of them have any social media that's public. Like, I can't find any social media for them, but again, if the biological father is a lawyer, he probably just told everybody to lock everything down, make it private, whatever. So I was able to give phone numbers, addresses for the birth father and the half-niece, and maybe a half-sister too. There was a half-sister out there, so I was able to give all of that information to her, and she thought it was kind of ironic because she says, I've talked to him on the phone. I'm like, excuse me, what, Miss Ma'am? You've talked to him? She's like, yeah, I've talked to him. He says he didn't know my mom, and so we just left it at that. I was like, well, he may not have remembered, but he did know your mom in the early 1970s because you're here and you match the family. So I gave her a list of how she matches everybody in his family line, including his grandchild, and then a couple of descendants of his great aunt and uncles on both sides of the family line, so she can give that information to him. And hopefully, with him being a lawyer, he's a smart man, and maybe he'll do a paternity test. She's an adult, so she can't go after child support or anything. Nothing legal anyway, so hopefully he tests for her and she can get that final closure in her book of where she came from. But that's it for today. I will see you guys later. Don't forget to hit like, follow, and share, guys. And up in our link tree, if you need to know who a birth parent is for whatever the reason, if you're donor conceived, if you're someone who was adopted, or you just don't know who that parent is, go to the link tree, go to our website, click request a search angel, and we've got you. Make sure you've done an Ancestry DNA test too. That's super important. But bye, guys.